Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning. Hold on, I'm fixing my lights here. Okay. We got the lights. We got the music. Unfortunately, we still do not have the market data. I think I did get everything sorted out yesterday, but not early enough for the transfer to go through. So let's come over here and just take a look at things on TradingView. We did have some interesting stuff yesterday. So yesterday, the treasuries, pretty much from the beginning of the session, moved up. And I think a lot of that was that the ISM numbers just ended up being terrible. But you can see in the overnight, maybe a little bit of pressure on there again. And the S&P 500 was up as well yesterday. Come over, let's take a look at gold. Here's gold, up a little higher from where they were yesterday. So even though off of their highs, doing not too shabby. And oil, we can take a look at oil. Oil, there's all that noise from Venezuela, but it's just slightly higher this morning. So it kind of seems to me like the main across the board takeaway was short the dollar and long everything else. So we're gonna come here and just keep an eye on the treasury here. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna be another day until we get full market data. But let's see here. First thing, I gotta switch out this cable because it was messing up yesterday, and I do have extra. So kind of unfortunate. Trash. Kids probably dropped it. Hopefully this one is much shorter. Oh boy. Okay. Think we're okay. Everything sound good on your guys' end? Okay. Oh, on my end, I can't hear anything because I didn't turn on voice meter. There we go. That's better. I guess I'll still need to buy a new cable because this one's not long enough. But I can get a heavier duty one. They definitely make ones for this. I could also look at getting a new audio interface. Actually, usually they make announcements on those sorts of things around this time. Let's see what's the nom this year. The NOM show is happening January 20th to the 24th at the Anaheim Convention Center. Ooh, 125th anniversary. Maybe we can find some rumors here. Oh, also, need to make sure we got financial juice here turned on. We do have Feds Moran speaking. That's a pretty big deal. Well, I don't see any headlines coming from it yet, so. But in terms of data, I think today is the lightest day of the week, right? So, yeah. Well, Red Book, S&P Services PMI. Trump speaks at GOP event. But that could be interesting. But overall, quieter day compared to yesterday, at least. I don't know. I kind of feel like that the result that we got yesterday, which again was basically like short the dollar and long everything else, doesn't really give me a whole lot to work with for the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year is often some of the best trading, but it often turns out that we're just kind of at a crossroads anyways at the beginning of the year, and I'm not sure that's the case this time. I think that especially in the treasuries, at least, that they need more data, maybe partly a consequence of the government shutdown, but still. I'm starting to wonder if I don't think I'm coughing anything up. I don't think I have walking pneumonia, but it's constantly crossing my mind because I'm in that post-viral cough period. Okay, so Moran, his speech is on Fox Business, so he's speaking right now. So we keep an eye out for some movement here. Of course, I won't see it, so we're delayed. He's talking about the housing inflation number and how that's kind of causing the CPI numbers to overshoot. which is pretty standard discussion from him. There we go. Get my sleeves all rolled up. I'm still getting this kind of like weird, like just feels too hot in here, but Octavius, welcome. How's it going? We're still having platform issues. Okay, so Moran is saying they should cut 4 times this year. And the market is expecting 2, maybe in the later half of the year. So I don't think Moran is like, I don't know, the guy in the squawk is saying it Myron. I thought it was Moran. Anyways, I mean, I don't think that his prediction is really that crazy or far off. Because if we continue to see some economic weakness here at the beginning of the year, is it possible that they cut in March and then again maybe in like May or June? I think that that's entirely within the realm of possibilities. That's really not as big of an outlier as it might appear or as some people might make it out to be. I think people have tried to paint Moran as an extremist that really shouldn't even be on the board. But the reality is that he really knows what he's talking about. He's been pretty good. And even though he's like way too dovish, it's not like insane. He's making a good case. So, or at least I let me put it this way. It's a perspective that I'm glad is being expressed on the board. Probably was being expressed on the board, even if it was none of the people really agree with it, you know? Oh, this headphone cord is short. So we're going to look for some replacements. Oh no, chat disconnected. Please wait while we reconnect you. Successfully connected and then disconnected again. Are you guys getting those kinds of messages? Hmm. The DOM view is better. We do not have data today, so it's my bad. I should have taken care of it in December, and I thought that it was better to wait until January, but I should have done it in December. So I got everything fixed, but it takes some time for transfers and things to go through. So tomorrow we should be good, and we'll have the DOM again. But today we just have to watch ZN. I was just typing a long sarcastic comment saying the same thing but deleted it because you beat me. That's funny. Okay, you know what is really like killing me about all of this though? Is that I think in the larger scheme of things, I made the wrong call. I think I made the wrong call. I came in and I said, well, we're not going to trade very well when I'm going through a period of unemployment and don't know what's going to happen. So we need to make sure that what money I do have saved up for the channel and everything is able to last as long as possible. Because in the past, it's always been, not that it's ever happened, but in the past, it's always been, well, if anything happened, if I, you know, really traded poorly and blew an account, I could refund it with my own money. And none of that happened. In fact, all of the sim trading, at least, that we did, and granted, I think that there's some big differences between the sim trading and the live trading because it would have been a lot more cautious. But, and you know, do it on the micro features, so you don't make as much. But all of the trading that we did last year looked really, really good. And all of the trading that we had done in 2024 was really, really good too. And so when I looked through it, what was happening was we were making enough to pay for the commissions, just trading micro futures. And we would have continued to do that if we had continued trading through the unemployment. So I shouldn't have stopped, and then we wouldn't have had this problem. Because what happened was the account drew down from paying for the data fees, especially now that it's $50 a month. That is one thing, is that we were making more than $30 a month from micro futures before, but when we make $50 a month, because I think on average I'm in between. Anyways, so yeah, I kind of regret doing that. Not that it's a huge deal, but I do think I made the wrong call. We could have been like, here's our chance. I'm sure that's what most live streamers would do, right? But I guess it's my more realistic approach to it that is part of what makes us what we are. So it's okay. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. And throughout all of that, there have been some good things, because basically the long and short of it was I was doing a contract job. At the end of the contract, they lowballed me. I told them no, and then I very quickly found another job that was better in every way anyways. The only downside, the consequence I have to pay for all of this is that now I have to drive an hour to work, an hour there and back. So that's not that bad, is it? It really kind of bothers me. It really kind of sucks. I'd like to get an hour back. I don't know what I would do with that hour, but I kind of want it back. But maybe that ends up being a blessing too. I was looking at like meet, because a lot of the meetup groups and things like that happen down in Provo, and since I'll be down there anyways, so like maybe I'll go to the one for the Rust guys on Thursday. But I think I should be proud of that. I think that's a good story. It's a good story. Because when you're in it, it's all hazy, and you want to believe in the company that you're working for, and you like the people that you're working with and things like that. But I didn't let any of that influence me. I said, this is the market price for the role. I'm going to get it. And it took some belief in myself to do that, because there was the whole time like, this is a terrible market. How much worse could this be? Is this going to be like another year after this before we find a full-time role? That's what was going through my head. And to some extent, it was kind of like, oh, maybe I screwed up. But no, I knew what I was worth, and I refused to compromise on that. It was the right choice. Choice that I don't think I would have made if I hadn't had the experience trading. Not just the experience trading, but the experience trading treasuries, right? Because treasuries, you got to be patient, right? Like you've got to know where the market is at. Because in the 10-year, you can be sitting waiting for a fill for a whole hour. Like it's just can be slow. And I got used to having to stick to my guns like that. And so when it came to a career decision, I did it. And may end up being one of the best career decisions I ever made. We'll see. Pac-Man asks, do you analyze commitment of traders' data? So not very often. I think I probably should spend more time on it. Here's the thing. For what we do, which is like intraday trading, by the time the commitment of trader report comes out, I should have a pretty good idea of what it's going to say. But there are like little tiny details in there, especially if you're starting to look at the commitment of traders' data across all of the different instruments, right? Like I know what it's going to be in the treasuries, but I'm not able to watch every instrument that closely. So there is some value to it. One of the things that I came across during the break was it was somebody was summarizing a video, essentially. I didn't watch the video itself, but I just kind of read their summary. And it was basically a video webinar put on by one of these guys. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the guy's name or anything like that. But he was one of the guys that has won the what is it called? The Rawlings Cup or whatever it is. Like that big trading competition that everybody makes a big deal out of. This is a guy that's won it multiple times and is known for being like the most successful trader in that cup. And he basically straight up explained how his momentum strategy worked. And it was a momentum strategy based on the COT reports. So, especially if we're going to swing, there's some good information in there. And I am, thinking more and more seriously, maybe partly just because we only get 90 minutes. 90 minutes isn't enough time. But I'm thinking a lot more seriously about trying to do things, basically swing momentum in futures, swing momentum in micro futures. So if you come in and you take swing momentum positions in micro futures, and you really know what's going on, so you kind of really increase the win rate from it. And all it takes is one winner, and you're going to make thousands, right? And then you can just keep going. So I think that's something we want to look at more seriously. There's probably a lot of good data science that we can do with the COT. That's a good data set to work with. Oh, they have so many colors and patterns. I don't know if we really want anything fancy, though. Plasma purple. .5. Well, I think that this one is 6. Yep, it says that this one only comes in 1, so. I wonder, ChatGPT, is there any real practical difference between headphone cables that are braided or twisted braided, or is it just cosmetic? There can be real practical differences between straight braided and twisted braided headphone cables beyond just how they look. But how much it matters depends on your priorities. Straight cable, simple bundle of wires. Braided cable, multiple insulated wires woven together in a braid pattern. Twisted braided, a more complex weave, often twisted pairs inside a braid. Braided/twisted braided, better at resisting pulling and snagging forces because the braid distributes stress across multiple strands. Less likely to kink or get permanently bent. They tend to be less microphomic. That is, they transmit less noise when the cable rubs against your clothes or moves around. Braided cables generally resist tangling better than straight cables. Sounds to me like it might be worth it to get this or this. I'm kind of thinking this. I feel like that the braid would be like too distracting to me. And I think that 6 feet would be fine. Threaded 3.5 TRS. Yes, that's what we need. $76. Well, that's an option. Let's see what else we got. I don't maybe need to go that crazy. Only 7 left in stock. Huh? I don't know if I want silver. Oh wow, the braided gets really expensive if you do 6 feet. What's with that? Still get hot in the morning. Maybe 4.5 is. This must not be 3 feet. "48 inches. That's 4 feet. I used to watch when you traded bonds. Good to see you're still doing it. Oh, thank you. I don't think we'll ever quit at this point. Oh, wow. This other cable that I got is almost 12 feet, or it's almost 8 feet. That's the one that broke. Yeah, I think 6 feet is the right length. You still have, well, it's not their fault, but yeah, we still have issues. It'll be fixed tomorrow for sure. Because basically, like, the long story of it was that it was because after the platform fees and everything for that month, it went below a threshold. And when I tried to add more funds, there was this issue where the bank account that we were using, it couldn't connect anymore because they changed some things at the bank. So I had to have them delete basically the bank account connection at Phillips Capital, and then I recreated it, connecting it to the proper account and everything, and then it worked, and it could make a transfer. Then I could make a transfer. And unfortunately, that didn't happen until like later in the afternoon. So I probably just kind of didn't meet the cutoff for it to happen. So it still shows the transaction as requested or whatever. So darn rhythm. Well, it has nothing to do with Rhythmic. It's really my fault. I mean, in the end, I don't think there's anybody you can blame other than me. But then Phillips Capital, I guess, is really the component that we're working with. That's the bottleneck, let's say. Yeah. So hopefully that, well, I mean, I'd be a little upset if it doesn't go through today, but we'll see. Well, we should be back up tomorrow. And you know, like, okay, we had Moran speak on Fox Business. But it doesn't seem like he really said anything too significant. And we're just kind of trucking along. So I think that it is going to be a really quiet day. So I shouldn't be too concerned about not being able to trade it. how are you doing so far, like trading wise, or? Okay, on all accounts, we've been doing pretty good. You know what? I don't like this headphone cable. I feel like it's too short. But I think I'm gonna wait on buying some. We're just personally doing okay-ish, I guess. I am still experiencing after effects from having the flu. Like when I wake up, I'll hawk up huge white things. So like I think that the immune system is still running pretty hard. Coughing a lot. Well, you know, I haven't really coughed. Now that you say something, I'm gonna try coughing, right? Huh? Man, nothing. I can feel like a tickle back there though. Like feels like maybe there could be something that needs to come up, and it will just take more time. I don't know. I still have, so like one of the things that happened that I think, man, the flu really tried to kill me. Like it was really doing its best to kill me. Not that I came anywhere close to dying, but it is a nasty bug, man. Because it's like every little thing that you do to deal with its effects, then the virus has some other way of making you uncomfortable. And one of them is, well, once you get past the initial fever period, then it tends to move into your lungs, and then you start coughing up a lot of stuff out of your lungs. Okay, cool. So I can cough up this green stuff, and then I feel better, right? Oh, no. Because we're going to make it hurt like hell when you cough. And that's what was happening, is this like the muscles involved in the coughing, like your diaphragm muscles and the tissue around the lung. You know, like you can't really, like the bottom of your rib cage hurts, and if I cough too hard, it still hurts. So like a muscle maybe hasn't recovered, but I also think that there's like inflammation just from the flu. So like I just still feel those after effects. I don't think, you know, yesterday I've had as much of the like, I can only describe it as existential dread, but it's not dread. It's like, how would you describe it? I'm sure there's a proper word for it. But just thoughts that like, not I wouldn't call it suicidal ideation. I definitely not getting that, but just it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep going and I want to keep going and doing things and everything, but there's not really any point to any of it, is there? You're thinking that a lot. Well, you know, we're gonna keep streaming forever and ever and ever, and I have my group of guys, and I really appreciate having you guys here with me every day. But like, is there really meaning in it? No, it's just us doing our thing that we love, and there's no, you know, there are some things I wish that it fit in, and that they were making like a bigger difference to people, but kind of seems to me like no, that it's none of it matters. You could stop doing it, the universe wouldn't care. Well, I would go to work, and I'm making the money come back, but then at the end of the day, it's like, does It doesn't matter. Yeah, you keep living, but who cares? It's just like the existential thoughts, right? Awareness of the meaningless of life. I don't know what caused that, but that was something that the virus definitely left me with, and not really thought about that too much yesterday. Just kind of have that post-viral sensitivity, mucus, whatever. Just lots of clear and constantly feeling like I need to cough something up. I'm still thinking about the audio cable thing. I thought the news squawk would be a little bit louder today, but What do you think about the Maduro thing? I haven't thought about it too much the past day, to be honest with you. Also, I just saw something the other day I thought was so funny. The guy said, it turns out they don't call them forever wars when you win them. I thought that was so funny. It's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. Like, normally, you'd be like, oh, this turned out well and yada, yada, yada. So, like, it was the right choice. And it was a big win for the Trump administration. But there appears to be a few little kind of unknowns coming off of this that could, in the end, turn that into a bad thing. Well, one would be like that the trial for him goes poorly. I think that's unlikely, but it's still a possibility we should list, right? Another one is that the transfer of power to the next Venezuelan administration goes poorly. And that has kind of been where the United States has had problems with these sorts of things in the past. So that one is something to keep an eye on. But the bigger thing for me is still that I think that this really shows the kind of world that we are in now. Like, I think people have been in denial about it for a long time. They're still clinging, at least symbolically, to the post-World War II international order, and which just doesn't really make much sense anymore. So they really, you're gonna see more stuff like this, and so the big takeaway for us is going to be, where next, right? Are there things that the United States can do to increase the possibility of an Iranian collapse? If there's a point where, there's like real military conflict between protesters and the Iranian government, they could step in. That's like a real possibility at this point. And there's multiple situations like that out there. Cuba's another one that I think they would like to come in and do something about. So you could see stuff like that. I'm not sure in any of these instances where I see a potential way to get in front of it market wise, but maybe prediction markets, maybe. But I think that this is probably just the start of this sort of thing. That's what I think. I always got to stay grounded here on these sorts of things, because, the way that most of us think about this kind of happening is, do I like this or do I not like this? Should this change my vote for president next time? Or is this something that I can use to try and influence other people's vote for president? That's the way that the average American thinks about this sort of thing, right? But we need to be different. We need to be thinking, what is going on right now? Understanding what it is, not judging it, not trying to, do I like it or do I not like it? Or how does this affect my politics or the political conversation? But rather just understanding what is happening, so that we can use that information to predict what is likely to happen in the future, and then find possible business opportunities from that. Which is a hard thing. Some people can't do it, man. Some people can't do it. This ability to take information and detach from it is apparently a rare skill. From what I'm told, but it's maybe perhaps a teachable skill, I hope, because I think it's really necessary to be able to trade effectively, at least day trade effectively. I was thinking yesterday, because somebody asked this question about, do you think that they're like traders tend to be more conservative or more liberal? And my guess is that there's probably more liberal traders out there, even though I don't necessarily come across them. But it's got to be hard to be a liberal trader right now, man. Because there's just so much happening constantly that they're trying to like step out in front of politically. Like you got this thing where like liberals are protesting Maduro being put on trial, which is not a very good look. Kind of feel like that you're not really analyzing the political situation critically if you're protesting in favor of a dictator staying in power, you know? But that's the sort of stuff that's happening, and the left, it seems to me, is in a state of constant emotional arousal. You know, like they're just going from one freak out thing to be pissed and upset about to another. And you think, oh, well, when the current mass hysteria is finally exposed, then the bubble will pop. But it never happens. They just move on to the next thing. That's got to be exhausting. And I really don't understand how anybody could be an effective trader if they were stuck in that loop, you know? But the reaction, the political reactions to the Maduro thing, to Venezuela, really shows you how far things have gone. Maybe the answer for the whole headphone thing here is to just bring the audio interface closer. Not try and route the cable in this strange... Just route it directly. Yeah, I don't like that though, because it'd just be all over the desk. You know, I've been sitting here with it like this. It's been fine. I haven't pulled on it. I think I should just not worry about it. Yep, it is decided. We will not buy a new cable yet. Okay, so one of the things that I see on Reddit a lot is if Biden had captured Maduro, Republicans would whine and cry about it. Probably true. Probably true. The Republicans would probably be saying the same thing, that it's a breach of international law and or illegal. And I'd go even further to say that next Democrat administration, whenever that may be, they will probably do something like that, and the Republicans will freak out, and then the Democrats will accuse the Republicans of being hypocrites. It's going to happen. You watch. If there was a way to put money on something like that, I 100% would do it. Oh man, Stephen Miller asserts the U.S. has a right to take Greenland. We live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force. that is governed by power. He said, these are the iron laws of the world since the beginning. Nah. I don't think that the United States would just come and take over Greenland by force. Very unlikely to happen. But there could be some sort of a adversarial takeover of some sort. Yeah. But it would probably have to be all political maneuvering. What would they be? How could they do it? Because how could the United States force Denmark to give up Greenland? I'm not sure how they'd pull that off. I guess the thing is if there was something practical that the United States could do to gain Greenland, they would do it. And right now, there just isn't a practical way for them to do it. It's probably the reality. I was about to read that article, but that's a scam article. What's the most overrated adult goal people chase? I'm sure that's going to be a reasonable thread. Turning every single hobby into a side hustle. The internet has convinced us that if you're good at something, you must monetize it. No, Sarah, I don't want to start an Etsy shop for my paintings. I just want to be mediocre at something for fun without checking my profit margins or SEO. Not everything needs to be a business. You know what? I have such a hard time with this one because I really feel that, like, you know, it would be nice if we could just do things because we enjoy them and not because we're going to be the best at it or all of that sort of thing. Because I'm kind of a little bit sick of feeling like you're not accomplishing something because the world or the market's not rewarding you for it, right? But then at the same time, I personally don't really get the motivation unless there's that kind of incentive behind it. And it's not even necessarily the financial incentive behind it as much as it is like the social incentive behind it, like people, the opportunity to talk to people and people admiring you and things like that. You know? Like I miss playing a video game and trying hard. There was a time where you could try hard and we were good at the games that we play, and now it's like with skill-based matchmaking and all that sort of stuff, like it's such a pain to be a tryhard now. It just absolutely sucks. They've just absolutely ruined it. And I can't. I guess I should be playing Battlefield 6 or 8 or whatever number they're at right now. It's the only game out there right now that seems to fit my tastes. Flying a lot for work. Oh, dude, flying a lot for work really sucks. You know, it's something I've realized. I have theory. Here's let me put like restart. Here's a theory of mine. The more that company cares about what the tech workers are wearing, the worse of a company it is. Like, I almost shouldn't say it like that, but it's like, if they care what the tech workers are wearing, then it means that their cells are not the kind of cells that you want to be in if you're working tech. Because it basically means that people are coming in to the office and they want everybody that is at the office to look like they're serious business. Whereas if you're in a company that does real tech sales, you know, because man, people in tech sales, they make mondo money. They can make insane amounts of money. And they're going to travel to them. They're going to have meetings where like none of the tech workers are even going to be seen. So they don't care. They just want the tech workers to be comfortable. My thought on flying for work. So another thing related to this subject, though, like the bigger thing in society is like there's no third spaces. There's no like what do? You work all day and then you come home and you only have like 3 hours to do stuff with your family. What are you gonna do with them? Because all anybody wants to do is watch YouTube. We've ruined ourselves. I should be able to enjoy doing anything in it. The kids are going to go and be crazy, and I'm going to watch and make sure that they don't kill each other, and that's it. Reddit says that one of the most overrated adult goals is having kids. No, you're wrong. It's the greatest thing you could possibly do in your life, and if you're not doing that, what is even the point? You're not a full person. You don't really know yourself until you've had kids. I've come across this many times, but like, I don't think I could ever vote for a president that doesn't have kids. I don't think I will ever do it. And every politician I can think of that didn't have kids made really terrible decisions. Like, that's what's been driving Germany the past 10, 20 years. This is a chancellor that didn't have kids. You can see how that turned out, huh? They're, like, not invested in the society in the same way. And they're not. They don't fully understand themselves, and leads to bad decisions. Yeah, the answers that I thought would be, Redditors trying to justify their terrible life choices. They're definitely in there, but they're like too interspersed with everything else. So wasn't as ugly of a thread as I thought it was going to be. Germany has the worst chancellors ever. One of the things I saw after the Venezuela thing was the new chancellor of Germany getting nervous that they would take him out. Of course it wouldn't happen, but it was funny. There's really, if you think about it, caring about Venezuela is like the most chronically online thing ever. I'm not convinced that it's really going to affect any everyday Americans' lives. Probably a week from now, we're going to like completely forget that this even happened. But right now, it's all that matters, right? Maybe I'm having a different view of it simply because the markets don't care, That might be part of it for me. r/trading. I lost over 30,000 before I figured out when to trade. You probably still don't have it figured out, but 30,000 is way too much to lose, man. What is the edge of a human over a bot? Okay, so interesting experience yesterday, because I did change the car out. It came to the time when after I was over the flu, and I started looking around, and I found a deal that I couldn't pass up. So I argued with my wife for a while about why we needed to do it. She relented, and we got a new car. And I convinced them to give me like 2,000, 2 or 3,000 for the trade-in. They gave me way more than I thought I would get. Anyways, it worked out. And the adaptive cruise control on that car is pretty crazy to me. I mean, first of all, the lane assist is almost perfect. No, I wouldn't even say almost perfect. It is perfect. It will, if you don't like correct it enough, it will complain and say, hey, you're gonna lose the lane assist here in a second. You better have your hands on the wheel. Yeah, like it's not enough that they're willing to take like legal liability for it, but it seems to me like the lane assist is perfect. And the adaptive cruise control is really interesting too, because it basically matches the speed of the car in front of you with a set follow distance that you specify. And within the boundaries of that, it's perfect. Like if the car in front of you is slowing down, it will match that slowdown exactly. Which is kind of nice. Gotta love the new car luxuries. Yeah, it is. I mean, I feel much safer now. Like the commute is a little bit less stressful, you know, because with the cars and all the crazy stuff that happens, you know, you're constantly worried about getting into a car crash. But with this, like, it can react to the car in front of me and match its speed basically instantly. So that's something that the adaptive cruise control can do that better than me, essentially. But there are still some things that it doesn't do. Like, for instance, I can see like almost a half a mile up if there's like red lights flashing, right? So I can tell that we're about to slow down faster than the adaptive cruise control can, because it can't see the red lights. It can only see the car in front of us. So basically what it allows me to do is I can use the adaptive cruise control to deal with the matching the speed of the car in front of me. And I can focus all of my attention to, you know, like 2 or 3 cars ahead, seeing what's coming up. It also doesn't know, like, if the car to the side of you wants to change lanes into you, right? So that's probably the biggest thing that you really have to pay attention to. So it's just kind of interesting to me where we have found things that the robots do better than us, but there are still severe limitations. Are actually, you know, so like another good example of this is this whole odyssey that we have had the past day trying to fix my trading account, right? Because I basically, to fix it, I had to ask them to delete the old account, and then I had to connect it to new bank account and submit a transfer. So, like, shouldn't all of that sort of stuff be automated? Like, shouldn't the system be able to fix it on its own so that I don't need a manual human intervention in it? And yet I don't think people realize how many people out there in the white collar world that's basically all they do is handle these situations where automations don't work correctly or something. Right? It increases the productivity overall, but it doesn't replace people. And the big question now is, will it stay that way? Or is AI about to progress so much that it can handle those kinds of discrepancies and everything just works perfectly all the time? Well, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical because even with really qualified programmers and people doing all sorts of work, most workflows out there in the business world require human intervention, regular human intervention anyways. Should check zero hedge here before we get going. By the way, yesterday, you know, when we got to the top of the hour, totally spaced what was going on. And why did I never hear anything from the news squawk about the PMI, the S&P PMI? S&P Services PMI 52.5 versus 52.9. Actually, you know what? I think that they did, and I just ignored them. The composite 52.7. So, an expansion. So that's good. Should just check, make sure that there's not anything super important. Fairfax Financial takes 22% stake in Under Armour as UBSC's turnaround stock. Nah, I don't know. So here's what I think is going on in the workout space. Because Lululemon was having trouble too, right? It seems to me that people have realized that they were paying like $100 for workout clothes all made at the same Chinese factory. So they all want to buy it super cheap. And the people that were okay paying $100 for workout clothes are going, well, it doesn't really make sense that I'm working out in plastic. Maybe I can buy like cotton or wool workout clothes. And so that luxury segment is moving over into quality materials, which really means reduce plastic as much as possible, right? So if I'm looking at like one of these stocks like Under Armour as like a turnaround stock, granted, Under Armour's kind of more mid, they're not necessarily high end, but especially if it was like a Lululemon, I don't see a major turnaround in those stocks unless they start talking about better quality materials. I feel like that right now in fashion, the trend is quality materials. But do yourselves a favor, go get yourself some linen shirts. They're the best. I wanted a quick giggle, so I just checked on Beyond Meat again, and they've done it under. That stock is just. It really is a weird one to think about. Well, they're actually on the upside today, but it's just so crazy to think that anybody was ever excited about this stock. Like this, this period from like 2022 to 2025. Where the real decline in Beyond Meat happened, I wasn't paying attention. That's always the way that it goes, by the way. So, like, if you're in a stock, it's like when nobody's talking about it is when the biggest things happen. When everybody's talking about it is usually not like the best times to be in them. So you get this. It's so crazy that there were people excited about this stock back then. And then even then after this whole spike up to like $8. So bonkers. They gave it all up. They totally gave it all up. Like what a joke. Yeah, you know what? That, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, what happened with Intel? Where are they at? Oh, they're not too bad. I totally wanted to buy it at 20. Like, I was gonna buy it when we were down in here. Started going up, and I was like, well, maybe I missed a boat. And then when it went back down into here, I was like, oh, I would really like to be in Intel. But this was then when I was like, well, I need to save up. We're looking for a new job. I can't really take on a risk. I wanted to buy it so bad. It was like the top one on the watch list, and then took off, and now I don't even know if I want it or not. Obviously, there's still some upside, but are they ever going to get back up to all-time highs? I don't know about that. Even with Trump backing them, I'm not sure if they can get back to that. Have to do some more searching. Like, what's if I was going to put $1,000 into a stock today, into a new stock, one that I already own, what should it be? I'm not sure what I would do. That's a question I should have an answer to. But guys, it's time to get going. So I will see you tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, everything works and we'll have the data back and we'll be back to normal. Until then, stay